Hello, everyone. This is Howard Fox, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series, the podcast that celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Tonia Silva is our guest today. Tonia is a board member for the Rio Linda Elverta Chamber of Commerce, and we invited Tonia on to contribute to our series with local chambers of commerce and everything that they have to offer when it comes to business, outdoor adventure, and really to kind of help promote their community as a place to come to live and do business and to recreate. So, Tonia, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Fantastic. Now, I have to ask for our listeners, now I cheated a little bit, where is the Rio Linda Elverta area?
So we are north of Sacramento, near the Sacramento International Airport. We're a very rural community off of I-5. If you were headed out of Sacramento, you'd very quickly, if you didn't get off on one or two exits, maybe three at the most, you'd miss us.
Oh, wow. Now, when you say rural, what does rural mean for being in this area?
Yeah, so a lot of the properties have a quarter of an acre, 5 acres, maybe 10 acres. A lot of Elverta was built on 2 to 5 acre parcels with some as many as 10 or more. You have a lot of horse properties, a lot of ranchers and farmers out in this community. So even people who have less than a quarter of an acre and they're more in like the city houses, they probably still have a chicken coop in the backyard.
I love it. So I imagine you get fresh chicken eggs whenever you want.
Yeah, my husband and I actually have a 10-acre farm, and we're getting about 40 eggs a day. So this whole $12 an egg crisis here didn't hurt us a bit.
I love that. See, I'm always looking for my next place to live, and farmers markets and fresh eggs are they're on my criteria. I've got to look for that. So it's good to know.
The must-haves.
Yeah. So what is it like to be responsible for a small chamber in a kind of a rural town, so to speak? And what makes your chamber unique than if you were like in a big city chamber?
Yeah, so we are unique in that we serve a small community, and we also serve a small number of businesses. Rio Linda has really 2 main streets, and most of the businesses sit on those main streets. So if you drove through Rio Linda, you might think there's only 30 businesses in the whole community. But what people don't see are all the entrepreneurs working out of their homes. We have a lot of crafters, people who make things, whether it be pepper jelly, or we have a lot of people with cottage food license making things in their home. And so we serve the unseen business community too. And that makes it a little bit challenging because when somebody drives through, they think, oh, there's not a whole lot here. But we do have a few events, craft fairs that pop up throughout the year, and you'll see 100 vendors show up, and a lot of them are local. So it is interesting to serve a very diverse community as far as home-based businesses as well as those that you can see.
Okay. And as far as weather throughout the year, does it get I'm in Las Vegas, so in about 2 months, I will feel like I'm in an oven, 500-degree oven. What's the weather like seasonally in the Rio Linda, Elverta area?
So California has great weather. There's a lot of things you could nitpick about California, but the weather is pretty amazing. So we do have a few 110 days throughout the summer, but we operate spring and fall are lovely. You might need a sweater if you're going out at night or when you get up in the morning, but the middle of the day is great. So you're looking at 80s, it gets into 90s. So we do get warm. We actually have a joke around here that it's like I'm going to say it wrong, but we come out of winter and it's like false spring and then pretend spring and then, oh, wait, it's winter again. And so this time of year, we had rain last weekend and it's gorgeous out today. So it is wet a little bit, and we get the heat, but I would say 6 months out of the year, it's perfect weather.
I love it. And as you were describing, like the spring, the fall spring, the second fall spring, I've seen memes like that, like on Instagram and Facebook, and that always makes me chuckle. That's what Chicago was like, where I lived before coming to Las Vegas. And here in Vegas, we have warm weather and traffic cones. Those are the two seasons we have here. So you mentioned before we started that your chamber is made up of volunteers, and I do realize it depends on the size and location, but what is the chamber's business like when working with the Rio Linda and Elverta as far as getting business done?
Yeah, so we are a board fully volunteer,
Mhm.
and I've been on the board, oh boy, maybe 5 or 6 years. A lot of the current board is newer to the board. And we try to reach the business community where they are.
Mhm.
So we're trying to do classes. Right now, a lot of people are struggling. If you've been in business 30 years, you might be 50 years old, and running a social media ad is something that you're really not capable of. So we tried to focus our projects and our efforts on helping businesses become better.
Mhm.
And for instance, we had a local floral shop owned by a woman who's very aged and doesn't really do social media. And our secretary reached out and was actually able to help her promote an event at her floral shop. We went in and we did floral design. She sold, I don't know, 20 tickets or something, and you could come in and create your own floral arrangement. And so
Mhm.
it's that kind of hands-on small town stuff that you're going to get at Rio Linda, Alberta, that you're not going to find somewhere else. You might send a flyer out and, oh, well, I didn't hear back, but we're actually on the ground talking to the businesses, really trying to help businesses become better where they are. We've hosted workshops using Canva or different
Mhm.
marketing strategies. And these are super nice tools if you know how to use them or if you even know that they exist. So we
Right.
do have a broad group of business individuals, whether it be somebody who just started a business, we're all ages. I was just over at the local sandwich shop, Tummy Sandwich Shop. They were voted best sandwich 2 years running in the Sacramento Bees Sac Faves, and which is kind of cool. You small town sandwich shop, but I was over there and we were just talking about different things. And she actually, the owner of Tummy's, worked at Tummy's when she was 16, first job. And now she owns Tummy's. So it's
Mhm.
things like that where you have this small town feel and it's the nostalgia. Hey, I went there when I was in high school and now I own the place. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool. And what are examples of some of the small businesses that are on your two main streets that people would notice? And by the way, I'm a big foodie, so if I come visit, I always want to know where can I get something to eat, and do you have a good coffee shop? That's usually the what's
The
important to
two.
me. But what are some of those businesses that are going to be on your main street?
Yeah, so the two probably, I would say the most long time running food places are Rio Java Coffee House and Tummy's Sub Shop. Both were around when I was going to high school here. I actually had a friend who had a license plate frame that said Rio Java is my third period. So we may or may not have ditched school and gone over to the coffee shop in high school.
My
So we
lips are
have,
sealed.
what's that?
My lips are sealed.
Yeah, don't tell the principal. So we had it used to be Archway Frosty. Fun story, back when Bill Clinton came through Rio Linda, he actually stopped at the Archway Frosty, and there's photographs of him here in Rio Linda. But it's now Granite Sub Shop. So we've got a few sub shops. We have old time burger stand where you can get shakes and soft serve. We just had an Italian restaurant. She tells me not to say it's Italian, it's comfort food,
Comfort
called
food.
the Grotto. Lovely little place where they're offering live music. We have a couple of pubs along the main street. I just heard they're going to do a pub crawl here soon. And then we've got a couple of real estate agents, a small gas station, real small town staff, a barber shop. You can get your hair cut, you can get your sandwich, you can get your coffee, and get on with your day.
I love it, and I have to admit I love the small town feel. Sometimes living in the middle of a tourist attraction is not the most fun, and I just want to sit on a porch, listen to the birds, have a cup of coffee or an adult beverage back on the porch in the evening. So that works out great.
Yeah.
It's how long have you said you've only been with the chamber for a couple of years? What's your since and you are a volunteer, what's your I will say this is probably the side hustle, but what's your day job?
Yeah, so I'm an accountant by trade. I've been working in accounting since I was 17, so I won't tell you how long. It's been many, many years, a few decades.
No
And
worries.
so I've been in Rio Linda. My office has been in Rio Linda most of my career, but I worked out of my home while my kids were younger. And then
Mhm.
my office is actually on the main street here in Rio Linda next to the post office.
And we still have post offices to go to. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually convenient. Just walk next door and mail stuff all tax season, so it's perfect. Good location for me for sure.
Excellent. So, what kind of outdoor activities do, say, your residents enjoy either in early in the morning or after they get off of work? What are some of the outdoor spaces that are available to them?
There's a lot. I would say first and foremost, when you talk about getting outdoors, a lot of times we are limited in what we think is the outdoors. But getting outdoors sometimes just means going for a walk in the morning. Get out on the
Hmm.
sidewalk, grab the leash, and take your dog for a walk in your neighborhood. We
Hmm.
don't have enough of that, I feel like. In our communities these days. So I have cameras on my building, and every day I see the same gentleman walk by and then he walks back, just out enjoying the walk. The lovely thing about this community is we have the bike trail, and
Okay.
it starts in Folsom, California, and it runs all the way through downtown area by the riverfront, and then it
Okay.
ends in Elverta. They actually have a project to extend that a little further. So we have a bike trail that runs through the main part of town. We have families on the bike trail walking their dogs, going for walks, moms with their babies in the strollers. We also have hitching posts at our local Starbucks and McDonald's,
Oh, that's
and you
cool.
can take your horse for a walk to the McDonald's, get yourself a burger, and hitch the horse right there on the hitching post.
That's very cool. Now, by the way,
Yeah.
I don't think I asked you when you and I first chatted about coming on the podcast. We are going to need a photo of you for our banners, but I want a photo somehow of the horse at the Starbucks and the hitching post. All right.
I will find one. I'm sure we've got one here somewhere.
And in fact, any of the other outdoor spaces. And by the way, I know there's an outdoor space behind me on this photo. Is this? Am I near downtown in the main street?
Yeah, so you're actually on the bike trail. That is the bike
Okay.
trail that runs through the center of town. And what you're facing would be the Park and Rec district. And then
Okay.
behind you is a little market and a haircutting place. My business is just a block down, and Tummy's is just a half a block down from where you are as well. So yeah, right behind you would be Main Street, Rio Linda.
Okay. And what is the bike trail called that is behind me?
So that is the Sacramento Northern Bike Trail.
Okay.
And there is a section of it that was just renamed as the Bob Bastion Trail.
Okay.
And that was renamed for a gentleman named Bob Bastion, who was a advocate for the local parks district, was on the parks board for decades, did a lot of good things in the community with the high schoolers and park and rec. So you're in a location probably pretty close to where they've just installed that sign dedicating a portion of that trail to him in his honor.
Okay. And I just pulled up the website All Trails. We can go to that in a second, kind of see some of the photos in the area. So what are some of the other outdoor kind of excursions that if perhaps even visitors that are coming in? Because I imagine you could park your car, take your bikes off in a parking lot, go for a nice lunch and a cup of coffee, and then hit the bike trail.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we do have Elverta has Gibson Ranch. They
Hmm.
do events out there. I know they had like a country in the park or some concerts out there. Huge venue. There's horse riding and fishing. They have a
Hmm.
fishing pond there. So you can go, there's trails you can walk on, you can ride horses. And a lot of people go out there, have their Easter egg hunts, family barbecues, things like that. We've also got a dog park for those who love dogs. So you can go over to the park. There's a dog park on one side, and then there's another children's park playground at Westside Park.
Hmm.
Depot Park it's the old train station. So we used to have a train that ran through town a
Hmm.
long time ago.
Okay.
And so they've maintained that building there, and it's kind of a meeting spot. You can ride the bike trail, go to the Depot Park. There's a community center there with a playground as well, with an old train, which is kind of fun for the kids to climb on. Not an old train, it's a park train.
Okay.
And again, you have your picnic lunch, there's picnic benches and things of that nature. One of the big draws for Rio Linda is the quarter midget track. So
Okay.
I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Earnhardt was there when he was a kid. So I think that's the claim to fame. But it teaches kids how to deal with race cars. The little
Okay.
kids are out there racing cars. And then that's also at the same location where the Elkhorn BMX racing is. We've got BMX racing on Friday nights. And then we're a small town, so you got to have the Friday night lights. Football teams
Of
come in,
course.
and we've got that in the fall, which is always fun as well.
Okay. Very cool. As you're chatting about this, I'm kind of bringing up some of these sites so we can kind of take a look at them. If you're okay, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen.
Sure.
And this is the miracle of technology here. We get to do this stuff here.
Yeah, love it.
Okay.
Love it and hate it. It depends on the day.
Yeah. Monday is always an adventure for me. You never know what you're going to get. All right.
Right.
So I am going to start with, okay, we're going to go right to the chamber. So here's our Rio Linda. By the way, I love your logo. I think that's
Oh,
really
thank you.
cool.
We actually just had that done a few years ago. Great gentleman that did that for us. He's
Yeah.
done several for me, but that's one of my favorites.
Okay. Now I see mountains way off in the distance.
Yeah.
What was I looking at there? Just curious.
More than likely the Sierra Nevadas. So we have a
Okay.
very small range of mountains called the Sutter Buttes. It might be the smallest. It's one of the smallest in the nation. I'll just say that. I don't know if it's the smallest, but very small. So that's in one direction. And then the other direction is the Sierra Nevada mountains.
Okay. Very cool. So now we can just kind of discover more. Let's see where we go. So join the chamber. How many members are there in the chamber?
Oh boy. I want to say close to 70.
That's not bad. Not bad at
No,
all.
it's up from, I think when I started with the chamber, we were around 30, maybe 35.
Okay.
So we've definitely had some growth over the last couple of years, kind of in a rebuilding phase for the last 3 years. And now we're kind of maintaining and trying to build membership, build members instead of building membership.
Gotcha. By the way, I recognize on one of the notes that you had shared with me, the quilt trail. That was
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, so the quilt trail is phenomenal. They
Okay.
are a group of individuals who paint these quilt blocks all over
Mhm.
town, and you can get the list from them, and you can go on whether it's a horse ride, a car ride, or a bike ride. Now, if you stop right here,
Okay.
on that library one where all those books are, my daughter actually has artwork. If you see the little black, yeah, that right there, I believe that is either my daughter or my niece. They're going to get mad at me if I quote them wrong. One of those is my daughter, and the one below it is my niece. They were at the Rio Linda Country Fair, which is a massive fair we have every year in September. And they did
Okay.
an art contest, and both of them won for different categories. And their art is now forever on this quilt trail block that the quilt trail created, and that is posted at the Rio Linda Library here in town. So kind of a cool thing. But this quilt trail, they just did a massive welcome to Rio Linda sign in collaboration with the chamber using grant funds that we received from Sacramento County.
Okay.
And all of the local businesses that wanted to could buy a big block. We put all the blocks together, and then we did a welcome to Rio Linda sign. So
Okay.
really cool. They're actually working on a sign for my church right now.
Oh, very cool. No, so by the way, just being the opportunistic podcaster that I am, that would be a nice, cool picture to share as well on our show notes. So
Yeah.
now we've got the hitching post, we've got the quilt sign. By the way, can I use some of these photos in our show notes?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Just got to make sure. I don't want to get anybody upset at me, but I think
Yeah.
that's very cool. I love there's a number of communities that I've interviewed over the past year when we're working with the DMOs, destination marketing organizations, as well as chambers where they have these quilt initiatives. And I just think that is really cool. And you get to bring the artist out, and the fact that you now have a personal connection to two of the artists, that is pretty cool
Yeah.
themselves. All right.
Yeah. And Deb Crow, who's pictured there on the right side in the white t-shirt, last year to the left. Yeah. Right there in the front on the left.
Okay.
She was our 2023 community champion. The Chamber of Commerce allows community members to nominate locals that they feel just go over and above. And Deb Crow was our 2023 community champion, in part because of her work on that project for the Welcome to Rio Linda sign.
Okay, very cool. That's very cool. So if we come back, I know you've got the events calendar. I know that that's being worked on, and You've got your board of directors, the meeting minutes, got your members, and folks want to learn more about Rio Linda and Elverta and thinking this is a place they'd like to set up shop or move. Sounds like it's very easy to get to reach out and get in contact with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Email is always the best route, I think, these days. Then you can do it whenever you want.
There you go. There you go. Well, let's go to some of the other sites. So this will be the Sacramento Northern Bikeway Trail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's okay, I'm not going to do that right now with the map, but length 10 miles. So that's a nice, I can do that. Heaven knows I sit at my desk too long between coaching and podcasting. This is a nice 10-mile trail. That's pretty good.
So that's just the northern portion of it, but the trail actually runs the entire length of Sacramento. So Folsom is the north. I'm terrible with north, south, east, and west, but Folsom, California is right before you get out into El Dorado County. And then Elverta is right before you hit Sutter and Placer counties. And it actually runs the entire length of Sacramento County from one end to the other. It's much more than 10 miles. I would say the northern portion of it that runs through Rio Linda is probably the 10 miles that you're seeing there.
Oh, okay.
So I think on the map there, it goes down into Sacramento, and then it probably goes another 20 miles the other way into over there by Rancho Cordova on the bottom right. So it's a very long trail, but we've got a lot of avid riders who do ride that frequently. It's down by the riverfront, which is lovely too, unless you deal with the bugs in the springtime. I don't love riding a bike in the springtime around here. We're such a rural community. You get the mosquitoes and the gnats, and then you're swallowing gnats. And I like protein, but not that kind.
I was going to say you're going to get your protein allotment for the day. Now, I have a question. You said Folsom. Is that the Folsom of Johnny Cash fame?
Yes, sir. Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison. Yeah.
Okay, Folsom Prison Blues. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got? Gibson Ranch. So this is the regional park. Oh, these are pretty pictures. Look at that.
Yeah, beautiful. So they've got the playground. There's a lot of peacocks. Peacocks, we've got one by my house. They are really noisy creatures, and they almost sound like a kid screaming.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's beautiful there. I don't know if you can see in any of these photos. They have the pond. I know a lot of people will go out and just do big birthday parties and things of that nature there, but it's so big. They'll have these massive outdoor concerts there where you get big headliners. People spending all day like the festival type concerts.
Okay. And I see you have there's a disc golf field. I love that. I learned how to play disc golf last year before I went to, I'm a member of the Outdoor Writers Association of America, and we had an annual regional conference out in Tennessee. And one of the day's events was disc golf. And I discovered just down the street from me, there's a disc golf course. So
we actually have two disc golf. So there's one at Gibson Ranch, and then there's one along an extension of the bike trail. Maybe it's called the horse trail. I could be getting it wrong, but it's kind of newer. They were talking about putting a disc golf course in there. And another fun thing that we don't have here, but I want to mention, is pickleball. I know a lot of people are into pickleball. I'm kind of a fan myself. I enjoy playing, and we actually do have those at the one of the parks here in town. We've got pickleball courts, and we have a group of people that get together every morning, Monday through Friday, a little pickleball club, and they go out there and play their pickleball.
All right. There must be a lot of, who are the doctors that fix bones? Orthopedic surgeons.
Yeah. Right. Keeping them in business.
There you go. All right. So what do we have here? This is Sacramento Northern Line. So online. So this is the depot you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the depot building. We actually used to host our chamber meetings in that building there, and Sac Sheriff used it for a while. The chamber has been housed there. It's kind of been home to a lot of different meetings and whatnot in the community, kind of a hub there.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
And then let's see, what do we got? The train rides.
So,
I love a good train.
Yeah, not any longer here, but in downtown Sacramento, they do have some old trains that run through. But there's actually not even a track, though. The track is where the bike trail is now.
Okay, gotcha.
The old track.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then we do have the Elkhorn BMX, which is a pretty big deal. They've got a big track there. They've just done some remodeling. And we do have a pretty big BMX crowd here in town. A lot of the riders, I guess are my cousins. A couple of them ride as well.
Okay. Well, that's good, fun sport. And I think I've reached a certain age where they're just self-preservation kind of kicks in.
Yeah.
So
You won't catch me out there riding.
no, not at all.
No.
I'll be a good watcher. So
Yeah,
I'm
there
gonna
you
go
go.
watch my great nephew play baseball during the Memorial Day weekend. And it's like, I'm just gonna sit happily on the stands. I'm not even gonna try. Hey, come on, let's go play catch. I'm not even gonna do that. So,
We actually, I did my kids maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We went and had their birthday party there at the track. And their friends all came in the spring. They brought their bicycles, and we brought in an ice chest, a cooler of some snacks and stuff, and let the kids ride their bikes. It was kind of a different birthday party, something they'll remember, and they raced and just had a really good time as a birthday party. Not your normal birthday party venues, but it was very fun.
excellent, excellent. While we're on the internet, any other sites? I'm just kind of looking at the list that you had shared with me. Any other sites that we would? You see, you got the horseback riding. That was at Gibson Ranch.
Yeah. The Rio Linda Christmas Parade, I believe, has its own website.
Let's look for
And
that. Okay, let's see what we come up
that
with.
is actually such a fun event. It
Okay.
is, yeah, RLEChristmasParade.com. This is one of my favorite events around the holidays. It's such a beautiful event. We wait until the evening come and you see all these cars here, people dressed up. We do, I want to say 50 or so cars that come through,
Okay.
old fire trucks. Even there's some quarter midget kids riding. This is a church, a local church that puts their train in. And
Okay.
you've got all kinds of different organizations that just decorate all their floats in
Oh,
fun, festive ways. There
that's
you
very
see
cool.
A1 Storage is a big sponsor of that. They usually do the prizes for the winners. And
Okay.
that's Mr. John Todd is the publisher of that article. He is our director on the chamber here as well.
Oh,
So that's a
fantastic.
fun event. Christmas comes and people come out and line the streets. And we have several local businesses. TNT Property Management is one right on M Street. They set up this hot cocoa bar. They don't
Yeah,
charge anything. People just come by, get their cup of hot cocoa, and watch the parade. It's really neat to see the community come together. And we actually have a lot of people from outside of the community that come just for this parade.
that's very cool. That's very cool. Fantastic. Now, yeah, by the way, we've got the give a shout out to the sandwich place that you were at.
Oh yeah, Tummy's Sub Shop.
Tommy's
Yeah.
Sub
I
Shop.
used to, when I was in high school, my go-to was a turkey roast beef with bacon.
Oh God, I'm all in.
And now I just had a pastrami for lunch. So
Okay.
yeah, Jessica and her sister and her mother actually all work there, which is kind of neat. Jessica's first job was there in high school. And then when she bought it, her sister quit her day job to come work with her. And then her mom works alongside her, and her dad comes in the evenings and helps clean up. So it's a family run business. Very cool people. They support the 4-H community really big time. They go out at the local county fair when all the 4-H kids are out there selling their animals, and they feed them one day. They bring all the food for the day. And they're also part of a big tri-tip dinner that they do for these kids. So even that's the joy of small town is all these well, I won't speak for all other businesses, but I do feel like my obligation as a business owner in this community, the community members, I feel like support my business, and I want to
Hmm.
support their kids, their nonprofits, things like that. So you do get a lot of the business community that comes together to support charity and nonprofit in the community, which is great.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, if you want to order these and pack them up for me, and I'll give you my address, I'm like all in here.
She
Everybody,
actually so she told me last year she was sandwiches and salads on the best of list. And this year
okay.
she's hoping for nachos. She's doing a pastrami nacho.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, good stuff.
This looks
Fresh
like
sliced
awesome.
meat every day.
Yeah, I'm like getting hungry right now. And now, what was the coffee shop we were at?
Rio Java Coffee House.
Rio Java Coffee House. There we go.
Yep.
All
And in full
right.
disclosure, my husband is the proprietor there.
Full disclosure. All right. Does he roast his own coffee?
So we don't yet. We do have a local roaster, Pittador Brews. And if we go back to the chamber website, there's an article there. But Pittador Brews just won the Calling All Dreamers competition in
Okay.
Sacramento. And it's a initiative put on by the downtown area trying to get more brick and mortar stores there. They won a $20,000 grand prize to open a brick and mortar store in the downtown Sacramento
Okay.
area. They have a small packing plant actually next door to my office here in town, and they
Mhm.
roast coffee for us, a special blend that we created with them. We collaborated on that. And then
Gotcha.
our other roaster we inherited the business or purchased the business. So we just kept
Right.
the coffee that the locals loved, and they're out of Redwood City. It's Josuma Coffee
Okay.
Company. But my
Okay.
husband has toyed with the idea of purchasing a roaster. So maybe coming soon.
I think that's probably a good idea. I mean, I
Now,
love,
if you go look, oops, yeah, this works too. There's my family the day we purchased it, and my sister there, and then my kids, my husband. That's an older picture, but we love supporting locals.
yeah.
So this picture that you're seeing there, that's my son designed that little
Oh,
t-shirt,
cool.
and so he does a lot of custom design there. He's custom design for this is our second edition, I think. He's artistic. He's 7 or
Okay.
16. Sorry, I was going to say 17. And this was the event where we were celebrating Pittador Brews for their
Okay.
win. There's Forrest Johnson is the representative from Sacramento County on the right there. And then the proprietors of Pittador Brews are there. They are a roaster for us. And so we wanted to honor them. We had a big party
Oh, very
honoring
cool.
their success. And so,
Okay.
yeah, a lot of real fun things. But we have a bread maker who makes bread and
Yeah.
delivers it to us. And we sell her bread out of the coffee shop. One of my sisters is a soap maker, and we have a
Yeah.
little kiosk there set up, and she makes soaps, delivers it there. So we have entrepreneurs in the community. Right here's a card. This is a local woman makes the cards. We purchase her cards and we sell them in the shop. So we love supporting local businesses and offering a venue for people to sell their goods where they
I
wouldn't
love it.
otherwise have an
I love it.
opportunity.
Well, fantastic. There's a lot going on for a nice small town. I love it.
Yeah, always something going on here.
I love it. Excellent. Well, I'm going to head back to you and I. Thank you for taking us on a little tour. Usually it's the website, but I actually enjoyed queuing up all these web pages as well. So we have to be flexible when you're podcasting. So I am curious, as you kind of look back now as a small business owner and entrepreneur, getting involved with the Chamber of Commerce and the community, what's been your aha moment? Like, wow, I get to do this.
Oh boy. I have a lot of them. So for me in my industry, I joke that I should have two rates. I should have one accounting rate and one therapy rate. I don't know what it is about people, but when they bear their soul to you financially, somehow everything else comes out. And so I love seeing people reach their dreams. So a success story, she happens to be my sister, but I don't know, 4 years ago, she made soap for her sisters for Christmas.
Mhm.
My brother took one home, called her and said, "Man, this is the best soap I've ever used. I don't break out. I break out with every soap. I need you to make me some more because this one smells like a girl." And so the chamber comes alongside somebody like that, gives them an opportunity to connect with other businesses. She has a shop right next door to mine, and she's making her own soaps, manufacturing, selling. She's doing tallow. So you get somebody who has a dream,
Mhm.
and me as an accountant being able to come alongside and help navigate the business things that people are unfamiliar with, and then the chamber coming alongside and offering a spot in the newsletter or a spotlight on your business, or the Rio Linda Country Fair coming along and doing a craft fair, or other places saying, "Hey, I'll carry your product." And so it's really neat to see small businesses supporting small businesses. And I just look back and I think when I just had this conversation with Jessica from Tummy's today, I said, who would have thought all those years ago that we would be able to support this community the way we have? We were the kids enjoying the support when we were younger, and now here we are being able to give something back. So it's kind of nice to see people who are good business owners not just taking from the community but giving to the community.
No, I love it. I love it. Well, fantastic. And I think just it's definitely it sounds like the type of community I would want to visit And I'm out in other inside. It's Howard's inside joke to himself, I think. I'm always looking for my next place to live. So, and I love small town. I have to ask, do you have farmers markets?
So we do have a farmers market on
Okay.
Thursday nights in the Depot Park.
Okay.
And we don't have a whole lot of farmers yet. It hasn't taken off like I think most people would hope. But we do have one we're trying to get started. And we do
Okay.
have a lot of people that come out to it, but it's not necessarily all farmers. A lot of people create things for themselves, don't
Right.
necessarily have excess. So we don't
Yes.
necessarily have a lot of big time farmers who are supporting communities. We do have a local Grange who puts on a zucchini fest every year, or this will be the second year, but they do a zucchini race. So the
Okay.
farmers, I think that's the number one thing in California. If you plant zucchinis, you could probably supply the neighborhood with zucchini. And so they created this zucchini race. You actually get your zucchini and then you get wheels and things like that. And you create a little car out of your zucchini and then we race them. That's always a lot of fun. So one more way to use the excess
Ri-
zucchinis, but zucchini and tomatoes, I think, are the two biggest things. We'd love to have a thriving farmers market. And I know there are folks here in town that are working hard to do that.
Excellent. That's another criteria for me. And by the way, another picture assignment for you, Tanya, is
Yep,
the picture of the zucchini car. So,
you got it. Yep, it's on
all
my
right.
list.
All right. Fantastic. Well, Tanya, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us on the podcast and representing and sharing the best of Northern California and the Rio Linda Elverta Chamber and the area. It's been great to know more about you and the work you're doing, and just definitely, I love that small town feel, and it sounds like a great place to visit. If our listeners would like to learn more about the Rio Linda Chamber, and just as a reminder, I know we were just on the website, where should they go?
It is www.riolindachamber.com. And we're also on Facebook. That's a good way to keep up on what's current and what's going on with the chamber.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today on the Outdoor Adventure Series and sharing not only your story about the business community and also some of the great outdoor activities that are available to locals and folks that are passing through on a visit. So thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And if y'all are ever in this part of the town, I hope you come by, have a sandwich, a cup of coffee, and check out the horses on the hitching post.
I I can say that I will take part of that someday. You can count on that. Well, listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a very quick close, and you and I can have a final chat. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, folks. We've just been chatting with Tonia Silva. She is a board member, a volunteer board member for the Rio Linda Elverta Chamber of Commerce. This is a really cute small town just north of Sacramento. And I don't know if, like me, sometimes I long for the days away from the big city life and just a nice small town, small businesses that you can support and become regulars in, like that sandwich shop and the coffee shop, and heck, even go buy a zucchini or go. I don't think I've ever been on a horse. I don't think so. But what a great way to spend some time if you're exploring in Northern California, just north of Sacramento. Now, I do recommend please visit the Rio Linda Elverta Chamber's website at riolindachamber.com, and we'll also provide a backlink to it on our show notes, as well as to their Facebook pages. And of course, in our banners and our show notes, we'll also have some of the photos that Tanya's going to share with us. As for us, you can find this episode in a couple of weeks up on our website, outdooradventureseries.com. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn on our Outdoor Adventure Series pages. You can find a video of this episode, including the tour of the various websites that we visited and Tonia shared with us about. This will be up on our YouTube channel. And of course, you can listen to this episode wherever you get your podcast from. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. Take care of yourselves and your family. And we look forward to having you join us on a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care now.